The chief hunter had killed the chick of a sacred bird, one the ancestors forbade anyone to harm. Because of this, the clouds vanished from the sky and drought fell upon the land. But Amara's heart of kindness restored hope to the land. Sit tight for the full video. Thank you. The sun stood high over the village of Umuaka, pouring its heat onto the dusty paths and dry farmlands. There was drought in the land. The river at the edge of the village had grown shallow after months without rain. Even the birds moved lazily, resting beneath the thin shade of Umuaka trees. And the wind itself seemed tired, whispering through dry leaves as though mourning the land.
This sun will finish us. The river is drying up day by day. It has been 2 months without rain. Even the birds are tired. Our crops are dying. They say the chief hunter killed the chick of the sacred bird. That bird the ancestors warned us never to harm? Since that day, the clouds disappeared. Thank God we are able to fetch some water.
The people knew the drought was no ordinary season. Days earlier, a chief hunter had returned from the forest, boasting of a rare catch. He had killed the chick of a sacred bird, one the ancestors strictly forbade anyone to harm. That same week, the clouds vanished from the sky and the rains stopped. Crops of different kinds began to spoil in the fields. At every junction of the village lay lifeless animals, goats, sheep, and fowls. The rivers grew shallow as they continued to dry up. The people cried out in thirst, for water was scarce and their farm produce was going bad. When the suffering became unbearable, the king sent his guards to summon the chief priest for a solution.
Go and get me the chief priest at once. Yes, Your Highness.
Hours later, at the palace courtyard, the people gathered in silence as the priest listened to the spirits. At last, he spoke with a heavy voice. The land has been wounded by the disobedience of the chief hunter. The remedy will come in a way no one expects. The hearts of the people will be tested. From that day, fear spread through Umuaka. People guarded what little water they had. Pots were hidden. Compassion became rare, and everyone whispered, "Let me survive first," as they struggled at the river to fetch water. Meanwhile, a beautiful orphan girl named Amara walked slowly along the village square early in the morning. Though she was poor, she never allowed hardship to harden her spirit. Still, life had not been easy for her. Amara lived at the edge of the village with her sick mother. Their roof leaked and their walls were weak, but love lived in that small home. Early one morning, Amara balanced a clay pot on her head and walked toward the stream, praying there would still be enough water to fill it. As Amara reached the stream, she knelt and dipped her pot into the shallow water. The water was clear but low, and she knew it might not last long if the drought continued. She filled the pot carefully, making sure not to spill a single drop, whispering a short prayer of gratitude. Just as she lifted the pot onto her head, she noticed someone sitting near the bush. It was an old woman. The woman looked frail. Her back was bent, and her clothes were dusty and worn. Her lips were dry, and her eyes wandered, as though she had been sitting there for a very long time. Around them, other villagers passed by carrying their pots, yet none of them offered the old woman water. Some looked away, others whispered, "If we give her water, what will we drink?" They said she should find a pot and fetch water for her own household. So no one stopped to help her with even a cup of water. The old woman's eyes followed them in silence. The old woman cleared her throat softly. "My child,"
she said to Amara, her voice weak. I have been sitting here since the early hours of the morning. I am tired and very thirsty. Please, can you give me a little water? Amara looked at her pot of water. She thought of the drought. This was the last trip she could make before the sun became too hot. She thought of her mother waiting at home. Her mother needed the water. Every drop mattered. Then she met the old woman's tired eyes. She said to herself, if I give her water, will my mother have enough? If I turn away, how will I feel walking home? Grandmother, Amara said gently, please sit well, you can drink. She lowered the pot and poured some water into a small wooden cup she carried. She stretched out her hand and gave the cup of water to the old woman. The old woman drank slowly at first, then with deep relief. Amara did not stop her. Instead, she poured a little more, even when she knew her pot was becoming lighter. The old woman wiped her mouth and looked at Amara with deep, thoughtful eyes. You have a kind heart, my child, she said. Many have walked away, refusing to give me water. Amara smiled shyly. We all get thirsty, grandmother. Today it is you. Tomorrow it could be me. The old woman nodded slowly, as if her words carried more meaning than Amara realized. May your kindness return to you in ways you do not expect, the woman said. Amara helped the old woman stand. Where are you going? She asked. I will find my way, the old woman replied with a small smile. They parted there by the stream. Amara lifted her lighter pot and began the walk back home. Her heart was calm, even though her steps were heavy with worry. Later that evening, the village square buzzed with unusual activity. Drums sounded. People gathered. Murmurs spread from house to house. The chief priest called the people to the village square, his voice urgent. People of Umuaka, your attention is needed. As the villagers walked toward the square, they whispered to one another. Have you heard? A strange woman has arrived in the village. They say she's not an ordinary traveler. Some say she looks tired, yet her eyes shine like those of the gods. Amara, curious, followed the sound of the voices. When she reached the square, her breath caught in her throat. The frail old woman from the river was sitting close to the chief priest. People of Umuaka, the chief priest announced, the gods walk among us today. The remedy has come.
People of Umuaka,
the people
the gods
rejoiced.
walk among us today.
At last,
the remedy has
the
come.
drought will come to an end. Suddenly, fear and curiosity rippled through the crowd. Whispers rose like smoke in the air as people questioned one another. What was this frail old woman doing here? The frail old woman stood quietly, leaning on a staff. Then the air changed. A soft wind circled around her. Light seemed to rest upon the old woman. Before their eyes, her posture became straight, her eyes grew bright, and her voice became firm. The dusty clothes disappeared, replaced with clean, flowing garments that glowed softly in the evening light. She now stood tall and confident. The villagers looked surprised, shame creeping into their hearts as they remembered how they had refused her water. Before anyone could speak, the old woman addressed them. You chose yourselves over compassion. You closed your hands when the land was open to suffering. The people bowed their heads, tears welling in some eyes. I am the messenger of the spirits, she said. The drought was not only for the land, but for your hearts. Only one showed mercy when mercy was costly. She turned to Amara. "Come forward, child."
Trembling, Amara stepped forward. "I only gave her water," she whispered. The spirit smiled. "And in doing so, you gave life to this land." She raised her hand, and the wind carried the scent of rain. The clouds gathered, and rain kissed the thirsty earth. As the rain began to fall, the people moved happily beneath it, stretching out their arms in joy. "Let the fields be lush again," the spirits declared. "Let the river not run dry, in season or out of season." Hope returned to the people, like breath filling tired lungs once more.
Then the spirit turned to Amara. "Take me to your home." When they arrived, she stretched her hands towards Amara's home. The small, broken house transformed into a large, fine home filled with food, gold, and silver. Amara's sick mother rose with strength returning to her eyes, and she came out of the house and hugged Amara tightly. By morning, the river flowed once more, full and alive. The fields became lush again, and farmers were very happy. From that day, Umuaka remembered that kindness is not weakness, and that sometimes the miracle a land needs begins with a single cup of water. The village remembered her act of kindness, and it inspired a quiet change in their hearts.
Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story.